Our mission today really is to give you the fast track, the shortcut to understanding what makes an organization truly great, not just good.
Exactly. We're diving into Jim Collins' work, Good to Great. It's this huge research project trying to figure out how some companies make that leap, that sustained jump.
And it wasn't just a couple of case studies, right? This was massive.
Oh, absolutely massive. They started with, 1,435 Fortune 500 companies, meticulously sifted through them.
Wow.
Yeah, and they were looking for a very specific pattern, companies that went from good, solid performance to truly exceptional results like stock returns way above the market average and kept it up for 15 years.
And they found how many?
Just 11.
Yeah.
11 companies made that cut. It shows how rare true sustained greatness actually is.
And I think what's really crucial right off the bat is what they didn't find. Because everyone has theories, don't they?
Totally. They expected, the celebrity CEO, the Lee Iacocca type, or maybe companies just pouring money into R&D or being first with some killer tech.
But that wasn't it.
Nope. Those things didn't correlate strongly with the leap. They weren't the primary drivers. It was something. Well, something else entirely.
Less flashy, maybe.
Much less flashy, but way more fundamental. It boiled down to this core framework, these 3 pillars of discipline.
Okay, what are they?
Disciplined people, disciplined thought, and disciplined action. And the idea is that these build on each other, creating this incredible momentum. Collins calls it the flywheel effect.
Right, the flywheel. Okay, let's dig into that first pillar then. Disciplined people.
Exactly.
It sounds obvious you need good people, but what kind of people are we talking about? Because, like you said, not necessarily the rock star CEO.
Exactly. This is where level 5 leadership comes in, and it's kind of paradoxical. It's not about huge egos or charismatic personalities dominating the room. These level 5 leaders, they blend this deep personal humility with just an intense, unwavering professional will.
Okay, humility and intense will. That feels like a contradiction. How does that actually work? Doesn't drive usually come with a big ego pointing inward?
That's the key difference. The ego isn't gone, but it's channeled outward, towards the company, towards the mission. So when things go well, the level 5 leader looks out the window.
Right.
Meaning they credit other people, external factors, maybe even good luck. They share the success. But when things go badly,
let me guess. They don't look out the window then.
Not at all. They look straight in the mirror. They take full responsibility. No excuses, no blaming bad luck or the market. It's on them.
That window and mirror idea, that's powerful. It really reframes leadership. The book mentions Darwin Smith at Kimberly-Clark, right? He sounds like the polar opposite of a celebrity CEO.
Totally. Described as shy, awkward, avoided the limelight, farm background, lost a finger working, put himself through night school for law, just not glamorous.
And then he gets cancer right after becoming CEO.
Yeah, gets a diagnosis, told less than a year to live, and instead of stepping down, he basically tells the board, look, I'm not planning on dying, and gets back to work, ran the company for another 20 years. That's the professional will part. Intense.
And he made that incredibly gutsy call, selling off the traditional paper mills.
Yeah.
The core of their business.
Exactly. To go all in on consumer products like Huggies and Kleenex, directly challenging giants like P&G. Wall Street thought he was nuts. The media hammered them.
But he stuck with it.
He had that ferocious resolve, didn't waver, and by the time he retired, Kimberly-Clark dominated the consumer PR market, left rivals in the dust. It shows what that level 5 will can do.
Okay, so you need that kind of leader.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just the leader, is it? That leads to the next part of disciplined people.
Right. First, who, then what? This is absolutely critical.
Get the right people on the bus first.
Yes. Get the right people on the bus, get the wrong people off the bus, and get the right people in the right seats before you figure out where the bus is even going.
So the who comes before the strategy, the what?
Absolutely. Because if you have the right people, they are self-motivated. They're intrinsically driven to produce the best results. You don't need to constantly manage or motivate them in the traditional sense.
That makes sense, but it sounds demanding. I mean, the source material uses Netflix as an example, and their standard is famously high. They only want stunning colleagues.
Yeah, that's taking first two to an extreme, maybe. But it illustrates the discipline.
They don't keep good performers. That seems harsh.
But their argument is that good is the enemy of great. A merely good performer, they argue, can actually bring down the performance of everyone else. And they take up management time from your stars. They want people focused entirely on organizational success, what they call selflessness.
But doesn't that create a really tough culture? Like always looking over your shoulder if you're just good?
It's definitely a high-stakes environment. The idea is if you hire only self-disciplined people who align with core values, Netflix lists things like judgment, impact, curiosity, honesty, then you can grant them enormous freedom.
Ah, okay. Less need for rules and bureaucracy because the discipline comes from within the people themselves.
Exactly. Freedom and responsibility within a framework. It's not about hierarchy. It's about shared standards.
All right, so we have these disciplined people. That naturally sets the stage for the second pillar, disciplined thought.
Yep.
You've got the right team. Now, how do they think? How do they face reality, especially when it's ugly?
Yeah, this is crucial. It's about confronting the brutal facts. Great companies foster a climate where the truth is heard, no matter how uncomfortable.
How do they do that without demoralizing everyone?
Collins outlines a sort of four-part process. 1, leaders lead with questions, not answers. Shows they don't have it all figured out. 2, engage in real dialogue and debate, not coercion. Get ideas out there.
Makes sense.
3, conduct autopsies, but without blame. When things fail, figure out why, learn from it, don't just point fingers. And 4, build red flag mechanisms, ways for inconvenient truths to surface automatically, things you can't ignore.
This sounds like it connects directly to that Stockdale paradox concept.
Yeah.
Which always struck me as, well, paradoxical.
It really is. Named after Admiral James Stockdale, the POW in Vietnam. It's this duality you have to hold in your head.
Okay, what's the duality?
On one hand, you need unwavering faith that you will prevail in the end. Absolute belief in the ultimate outcome, no matter how bleak things look now.
Right.
But at the exact same time, you must have the discipline to confront the most brutal, harsh facts of your current reality, whatever they are.
I remember the story about the POW camp, the optimists who kept saying, we'll be out by Christmas. They didn't make it.
Exactly, because their optimism wasn't grounded. When Christmas came and went, they were crushed. They died of a broken heart, Stockdale said. You need the faith and the facts.
So how does that play out in business? You mentioned Bethlehem Steel.
Right. Faced with cheap steel imports, a brutal fact. They essentially blamed the imports, looked out the window, they kept hoping things would change back.
And Nucor, facing the same reality.
Nucor looked in the mirror. They saw the imports not as a threat, but almost as a blessing, because steel is heavy and expensive to ship long distances. It gave them an edge locally. They confronted their own shortcomings in management, in technology. That brutal honesty allowed them to adapt and thrive, while others, like Bethlehem, declined.
That honest self-assessment, facing the facts, that allows you to simplify things. Define the hedgehog concept.
Precisely. You know the old saying. The fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows one big thing. Great companies are hedgehogs. They cut through the clutter to find one simple guiding concept.
And that concept comes from the intersection of 3 circles. What are those again?
Okay, 3 key questions you have to answer with deep understanding. Circle 1, what can you be the absolute best in the world at? And just as importantly, what can you not be the best at? No ego here.
Brutal honesty again.
Brutal honesty. Circle 2, what drives your economic engine? What's that single key metric, like profit per X or cash flow per X, that has the most impact? And circle 3, what are you deeply passionate about? What work do your people genuinely care about?
So it's the intersection of best-in-world capability, economic driver, and passion. But it's easy to mistake that for just like a mission statement, isn't it?
It's way deeper than a slogan. It's a profound understanding, often discovered over time through confronting those brutal facts. And you have to avoid the curse of competence, meaning just because you're currently good at something, maybe even making money from it, doesn't mean it fits your hedgehog concept. It might not be something you can be the best in the world at. You need the discipline to potentially walk away from things you're competent in if they don't fit the intersection.
That discipline, it leads perfectly into the third pillar. Disciplined action. You have the right people, they're thinking clearly based on facts, and the hedgehog concept. Now, how do they execute?
It starts, unsurprisingly, with a culture of discipline. But again, this isn't top-down tyranny. It's self-disciplined people adhering fanatically to the hedgehog concept.
How does that manifest?
The most important action is often saying no. Saying no thank you to opportunities, even really attractive ones, if they don't fit squarely within those 3 circles. It takes immense discipline to pass up shiny objects that could distract you.
So it's focused action. And this leads to the flywheel, not some overnight revolution.
Exactly. That's maybe the biggest myth buster. Greatness doesn't happen in one big push, one grand program, one killer acquisition. It's like pushing a giant heavy flywheel.
Takes forever to get it moving.
Right. Huge effort for the first few turns. You're pushing, applying all 3 disciplines relentlessly. People, thought, action, turn after turn. Slowly, it builds momentum.
And eventually,
that momentum becomes cumulative. It builds on itself until breakthrough. The flywheel is spinning fast, almost under its own power. That's the leap. It looks sudden from the outside, but it's the result of consistent, disciplined pushing.
which is the total opposite of the doom loop.
The doom loop, yeah. That's companies lurching from one program to another, changing leaders, changing strategies, reacting desperately without that underlying consistency. They never build momentum, they just wear everyone out.
Okay, so once the flywheel is spinning, where does technology fit in? We said it wasn't the initial driver.
Technology acts as an accelerator. Once you know your hedgehog concept, once the flywheel has momentum, then you look for technologies that can make it spin faster.
So you don't chase tech fads.
No, great companies are careful. They follow a kind of pause, think, crawl, walk, run cycle with new tech. They figure out how it fits their hedgehog concept first, then apply it diligently to accelerate what they're already doing successfully.
That sounds very methodical. It links nicely to that other concept, fire bullets, then cannonballs.
Absolutely. Same principle. You don't start with the huge, risky, resource-intensive bets, the cannonballs.
You start small.
You start with bullets. Low cost, low risk, low distraction experiments. You fire lots of bullets to see what works, to get empirical validation.
Test the waters.
Exactly. Once a bullet hits the target, once you have real proof, then you concentrate your resources and fire a calibrated cannonball. Uncalibrated cannonballs, fired without proof. That's how companies blow themselves up.
The Apple iPod example really brings this home, doesn't it? We think of it as this flash of genius.
But it wasn't initially a cannonball at all. When it launched, 2001, 2002, it was a small part of Apple's business. Less than 3% of sales, I think. It was a bullet.
A test.
An experiment. They saw customers loved it. They saw the music industry was struggling with piracy. That empirical validation, that proof.
That let them fire the cannonball.
Which was the massive expansion of iTunes, putting it on Windows, building the whole online music store ecosystem. That required huge resources, but it was fired after the bullet hit. Disciplined action, not just a creative whim.
Okay, so wrapping this all together. Disciplined people, disciplined thought, disciplined action, building that flywheel momentum. It's a powerful framework for organizations. But what about for you listening right now? How does this apply personally?
Collins actually argues these principles are deeply relevant on a personal level. Think about first who. Maybe the most important decisions in your life aren't about what career path you choose.
Oh, who you choose.
Who you choose to spend your life with, who you choose to work closely with, who's on your personal bus. If those who decisions are wrong, it's incredibly hard for any what to succeed or bring fulfillment.
That hits home. And the hedgehog concept. Can you apply those 3 circles to yourself?
Absolutely. It's a great filter for finding your path. Ask yourself. 1, what are you deeply passionate about? What work would make you feel incredibly lucky to do?
Yep.
2, what are you genetically encoded for? What talents do you have that feel almost effortless, like you're built to do them? Where do you just get it?
Right, natural ability.
And 3, what drives your personal economic engine? What can you actually make a living at?
And the crucial point is finding the intersection of all 3.
Yes.
Okay.
And the big warning is, don't start with circle 3. Don't just optimize for the money first.
Why not?
Because true personal greatness, that sense of fulfillment and impact, usually comes when you first identify your passion and your unique capabilities, and then figure out the economic model. Settling for just 2 out of 3 circles rarely leads to a great life.
So it all comes back to discipline, doesn't it? Personal discipline. If someone listening wants to start cultivating that level 5 mindset personally, what's the single most important thing they could do, maybe starting today?
It really comes back to that simple but profound image, the window and the mirror. Make a conscious choice. When things go well for you personally or professionally, deliberately look out the window. Credit luck, credit circumstances, credit the people who help you. Share the success.
And when things go wrong?
Look immediately in the mirror. No excuses. Take responsibility. Ask yourself, what could I have done differently? That consistent choice, that habit of where you direct your focus in moments of success and failure, that's the bedrock of level 5. It's the beginning of building your own great trajectory.